While we all have our opinions on what states we think are good and which ones are not so good, have you ever wondered where these states rank when you're considering all 50 states? Well, today on Across the Globe, we are ranking all 50 states in the United States from worst to best. To compile this ranking, we looked at a variety of factors like economic opportunities, crime, the cost of living, quality of life, and more. Okay, let's get into it. Number 50, Louisiana. Louisiana may be relatively affordable, with a cost of living index that makes it one of the cheapest places to live in the country, but that's not enough to offset the challenges this state faces. U.S. News & World Report considers Louisiana's economy, infrastructure, education system, and healthcare to be among the worst in the country. It's also the 6th most dangerous state by violent crime in the country and has the highest poverty rate in the nation. Number 49, New Mexico. New Mexico has the 3rd highest poverty rate in the country, at a rate of 18.4%. It also has an astoundingly high child poverty rate, with 28% of children under 5 and 25% of children under 18 living in poverty. As you can imagine, economic opportunities are limited here, and to make matters worse, the state has the 2nd highest violent crime rate in the country. Number 48, Alaska. Speaking of high violent crime rates, guess which state comes out first? That's right, Alaska has the highest violent crime rate in the U.S. According to WalletHub, it also has the worst quality of life out of any other state. On top of all of that, it's expensive, with the 6th highest cost of living index in the nation. Talk about a disconnect. Number 47, Mississippi. Like Louisiana and New Mexico, Mississippi also struggles with high poverty and few economic opportunities. Here, the poverty rate is 19.4%, meaning that almost 1 in every 5 people in the state live in poverty. Its economy, education, and healthcare are also some of the worst in the country. One thing it has going for it, Mississippi is the cheapest state when it comes to the cost of living index, as it should be. Number 46, Arkansas. Arkansas, unfortunately, has a big drug use problem, and that has at least in part contributed to it being the 4th most crime-ridden state in the country. The state also struggles with healthcare, with an above-average number of people going without health insurance. Number 45, Oklahoma. While Oklahoma definitely has some affordable areas, that's not enough to outshine where the state lacks. Specifically, Oklahoma struggles when it comes to its education system, with below-average test scores and rates of high school graduation. Additionally, a whopping 20.2% of people here are without health insurance, compared to 12.2% nationally. Number 44, West Virginia. If you've seen any of our other videos, you probably know that West Virginia has struggled for a while now. Its economy is among the worst in the nation, with U.S. News reporting that it has a poor business environment and poor employment and growth opportunities. Its education and healthcare are also poorly ranked, and as you can imagine, this means that the quality of life there also suffers. Number 43, Alabama. On the bright side, Alabama is very affordable, and the quality of life here can be good for some people. However, on the not-so-bright side, the state also has one of the highest rates of pollution in the country, with about 1.6 times the number of industrial toxins being released as is seen elsewhere in the U.S. Number 42, South Carolina. South Carolina struggles when it comes to its education, healthcare, and safety. It has below-average high school graduation rates and test scores, a large percentage of people without health insurance, and ranks in the top 10 when it comes to violent crime rates. South Carolina does have its mild weather going for it, though, and the cost of living isn't too high. Number 41, Kentucky. Unlike what we've seen with the states so far, Kentucky actually has one of the lowest rates of violent crime in the country, coming in at the 11th lowest. However, its economy isn't great, and the state is actually seeing negative job growth. Number 40. Nevada. While you might have thought Kentucky would reverse our violent crime trend, that's not the case. Nevada bumps us back to looking at one of the most violent states in the country, having the 12th highest violent crime rate in the nation. While the cost of living isn't astronomical, it does come in number 30 in terms of its cost of living index. Its education, healthcare, and economy are also considered on the low end of average. On the plus side, Nevada's infrastructure is actually thought to be pretty good. Number 39. Arizona. Arizona has gotten pretty pricey in recent years, and its cost of living index puts it at the 15th most expensive state in the nation. While that's not enough to explain why it's ranked number 39, this might be. It's the 5th most dangerous state in the US by its violent crime rate. Number 38. Texas. While Texas may be relatively affordable and offers a pretty good quality of life to those who live here, it's not all good in the Lone Star State. For instance, Texas has the 15th highest violent crime rate in the US. The state also struggles when it comes to equality and economic opportunity, with a below-average median household income and above-average poverty rate. Number 37. Ohio. Let's start with the good. Ohio is pretty safe, with a low violent crime rate overall. It's also one of the most affordable places to live in the country, with housing being particularly affordable. But the state's economy is where things start not looking so good. In particular, Ohio has a negative job growth, indicating that there are limited opportunities here. Number 36. Missouri. Missouri is actually one of the most affordable places to live in the country, with housing being particularly affordable. It also has clean air and water, little pollution, and has a lower than average poverty rate. On the flip side, Missouri has the 7th highest rate of violent crime in the country. Number 35. California. While it may be considered one of the most beautiful states in the country, it has a serious problem with affordability. It's considered the 3rd most expensive state in the country by its cost of living. Other than that, it's ranked pretty average in terms of its education and safety. One bright spot is that the state does well in terms of providing quality healthcare to its residents and appears to be one of the healthier states in the nation. Number 34. Oregon. Oregon has plenty of natural beauty going for it, but depending on where you live in the state, the quality of life may not follow. For instance, Portland, Oregon's largest city, has struggled with high rates of drug use and homelessness. Its cost of living also puts it within the top 10 most expensive states. Number 33. Tennessee. The good news for Tennessee is that it has a strong economy, with the state recently investing millions of dollars to create new employment and business opportunities. It also has a relatively low cost of living, at least for now. The bad news? It has the 3rd highest violent crime rate nationwide. Number 32. Rhode Island. Rhode Island has the unique distinction of being the smallest state in the country. No, that doesn't impact its ranking here at all. It's just a fun fact for you. What does impact its ranking is its cost of living. In fact, if it weren't for how expensive Rhode Island is, it would probably be ranked higher, especially considering its low crime rate. However, Rhode Island has also had some issues with its economy as of late, seeing negative job growth. Number 31. Michigan. If you're looking for an affordable place to live, Michigan might be it. However, you'll be trading affordability for freezing temperatures in the winter, high crime, and a struggling economy, as the state currently has a negative 1% job growth. Number 30. Georgia. Number 30 is Georgia, and that number means that there's nothing overwhelmingly amazing or overwhelmingly negative about Georgia. The weather's pretty good, though it can get muggy, and the state is pretty average in terms of affordability, its economy, and the quality of its education. What this means is that Georgia can be great for you or not so great depending on what you're looking for. Number 29. Indiana. Indiana is one of those states that seems to fly under the radar. It never seems to make the headlines all that much, and that's probably why we've ranked it number 29. Most of the state is rural, and what that means is, although it's affordable and has fairly low crime, it's not necessarily a place where you'll find resources if you want to do something more outside the box, like start your own business. Not to mention, there's really not much to do here. Number 28. Maryland. The fact that Maryland is home to prominent spots like the NASA Goddard Space Flight Center and the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center might explain why it ranks as one of the top states in terms of the quality of its healthcare. Additionally, Maryland has one of the lowest rates of uninsured people in the nation. Unfortunately, it can be costly to live here, with its cost of living index placing it at the 6th most expensive state in the country. Number 27. Illinois. Recently, WalletHub ranked Illinois as one of the best places in the country to start a family, but on the flip side, listed it as one of the worst places to retire. That primarily appears due to its high cost of living, though I'm sure its reputation as one of the coldest states with the worst winters also plays a role. Number 26. Pennsylvania. When we were looking at the best and worst states, Pennsylvania seemed to face some controversy. Some rankings considered it one of the best states, while others considered it one of the worst. The consensus we came to? It's kind of in the middle. It's in the middle when it comes to cost of living, in the middle when it comes to quality of education and healthcare, and even in the middle when it comes to crime. One area where it does seem to win out, its overall quality of life. Number 25. Kansas. Like Pennsylvania, Kansas is also kind of like the Goldilocks of states. Everything here is pretty much average. In fact, it ranks middle across the board when it comes to affordability, safety, education and healthcare, and its economy. However, given its prevalence as an agricultural state, its economy does lack diversity. Number 24. Montana. No conversation about natural beauty would be complete without discussing Montana. Its wide-open landscapes offering sweeping views above have earned it the nickname Big Sky Country. And while its economy is strong, Montana ranks pretty average when it comes to things like healthcare and education. The cost of living here is also above the national average. Number 23. Maine. We've talked a lot about crime so far, so I'm sure this fact will be of interest to you. Maine has the lowest violent crime rate in the country. As a result, you can enjoy its beautiful coastlines and rustic hiking grounds in peace. Another plus is that Maine has high-quality education and healthcare, but there's always a downside, and that's that Maine is expensive. Number 22. Wyoming. Wyoming has recently been starting to make a name for itself. The state is inexpensive, with a cost of living and housing index well below national numbers. It's also home to Yellowstone National Park, one of the best-known national parks in the U.S. However, its education and healthcare systems could be improved upon, with below-average rates of high school graduation and above-average rates of people who are uninsured. Number 21. North Dakota. We're going to start off with the not-so-good right up front. North Dakota is one of the coldest states in the country and has the least diverse economy in the nation. The irony is that its economy is actually really strong due largely to agriculture and oil and gas production. Also, it's really affordable. Number 20. Connecticut. Connecticut has a lot in its favor. It's one of the safest states in the nation. It has high-quality education and healthcare. It has a pretty diverse economy and a low poverty rate. However, like some of these other states, its downside is that it's expensive. Number 19. Delaware. You probably know Delaware as a great place to enjoy lower taxes or to start a business. But I can assure you, there's more to this state than just tax perks. For starters, it has a strong economy and is one of the most equitable states in the nation in terms of things like gender pay gaps, educational achievements, and income disparities. It also has the most diverse economy in the country. The flip side, It has a high cost of living and has some of the worst pollution in the nation. Here, the levels of industrial toxins are nearly 4 times the national average. Number 18. Vermont. There's more to Vermont than fall foliage, maple syrup, and Ben & Jerry's ice cream, although those things are all great. Like Delaware, one of Vermont's greatest assets is its strong commitment to equality and economic opportunity. It also has strong education and healthcare systems. However, the cost of living here has increased in recent years, and it now has the 8th highest cost of living index in the country. Number 17. Hawaii. Do you know the number 1 most expensive state in the country? Yep, it's Hawaii. In particular, housing here is extraordinarily high, with a typical home in Oahu costing over $1 million. Its economy has also struggled recently, partially because it's so reliant on tourism. Now, what's good about Hawaii probably doesn't even have to be said, and that's that it's one of the most beautiful states in the US. Number 16. Colorado. Colorado has a lot going for it. There's plenty of scenic beauty given its gorgeous mountain ranges. The state also boasts a strong economy with lots of opportunities for employees and businesses alike. Why it's not ranked higher is because it can get expensive, with housing in particular being high. Number 15. Nebraska. A lot of states we've seen recently have been expensive, but one state that's not is Nebraska. It boasts a strong economy due to its large agricultural presence and has some of the best infrastructure in the country. However, it's ranked pretty average in terms of education, healthcare, and crime. Number 14. South Dakota. Home to Mount Rushmore, South Dakota is another big agriculture state. Although tourism is becoming an increasingly large industry, the state has some of the lowest pollution levels in the nation and is relatively affordable. Unfortunately, its crime rates mean that it's not higher, as it has the 9th highest violent crime rate in the country. Number 13. Washington. This year, U.S. News and World Report ranked Washington the 2nd best state in the U.S. So, why didn't we list it higher? Well, while Washington has a lot going for it, like scenic beauty, clean air and water, and a solid economy, it's really expensive to live here. That means that the state's offerings aren't accessible to everyone, which is a point against it in our eyes. Also, the weather isn't that great unless you like near constant cloud cover. According to the Farmer's Almanac, for instance, Washington has the fewest days of sunshine each year, with some cities getting as little as 52 sunny days a year. Number 12. Iowa. Although it may not be the prettiest state in the country, Iowa is one of the most affordable. This, according to U.S. News and World Report, makes it one of the top states in the country when it comes to opportunity. Its robust agricultural presence also means that the state has strong infrastructure and fiscal stability. Number 11. North Carolina. If you're worried about cold, miserable winters, you won't have to worry about that in North Carolina, where the climate is known as being pretty mild year-round. Some people even say it has the Goldilocks of weather. It's not too hot and not too cold. The weather allows you to enjoy the state's natural beauty, which includes the Appalachian Mountains and numerous coastal beaches. So, what's the catch? Well, there's not really one. It's just that the state ranks pretty average in terms of its education, healthcare, and economy. Just a note before we get into the top 10. We have made some adjustments that differentiate this list from our best states to live in list due to the way we ranked these states versus the states in the other video. Alright, now on to the top 10. Number 10, Massachusetts. Massachusetts has a pretty stellar record. According to U.S. News and World Report, it's in the top 10 in the nation when it comes to its crime and corrections, its economy, education, healthcare, and natural environment. But even Massachusetts isn't perfect. It actually has the 2nd highest cost of living index in the nation. If it weren't for that number, it might be number 1 on this list. Number 9. New York. If it weren't for its high cost of living, New York would probably be ranked higher. While that might surprise some of you, that's because the state has a strong education system, great healthcare, and, maybe more surprisingly, some of the lowest pollution levels nationwide. If you're picturing New York City when I say that, remember that a lot of New York State is rural. Number 8. Virginia. Virginia has one of the most diverse economies in the country, encompassing everything from shipbuilding to farming and tobacco production. This helps contribute to an overall strong economy. It also has solid education and healthcare systems, making for an overall pretty good quality of life. Number 7. New Jersey. This one always seems to come as a surprise. Despite its depiction in the media, New Jersey is actually one of the safest states in the country, with the 6th lowest violent crime rate. Because of this, along with its good education system, New Jersey is even considered one of the best places in the U.S. to raise a family. Number 6. Utah. U.S. News & World Report listed Utah as the best state in the entire country. This was primarily due to its strong economy, fiscal stability, and education. There's also plenty of natural beauty in this state, with national parks including Zion and Bryce Canyon. The reason we didn't place it as number 1 on our list is because while it has pretty low rates of violent crime, it sees fairly high rates of property crime. Number 5. New Hampshire. New Hampshire seems to have it all when it comes to its landscape. Here you can find valleys, lakes, mountains, rivers, and coastline. The state not only has the 2nd lowest violent crime rate in the nation, but also has a strong economy. The downside is that it's become increasingly expensive in recent years and now has the 10th highest cost of living index in the country. Number 4. Florida. Florida is not only a great place to retire, it can also be a great place for individuals and families as well. Of course, you're probably picturing white sandy beaches and turquoise waters when you think about living here, but Florida has more going for it than strictly its natural beauty. For instance, the state has good education, a strong economy, and solid infrastructure. But, as I'm sure you know, it can be pricey. Number 3. Wisconsin. Wisconsin, on the other hand, is not expensive, at least not relatively speaking. And while it does experience harsh winter weather, if you can get by that, it can be a pretty great place to live. It has quality education and childcare, making it a particularly great place to raise a family. Number 2. Idaho. Fun fact about Idaho: it contains a small part of Yellowstone National Park. That fact alone should cue you into the natural beauty that this state holds. Beyond that, it has a strong economy bolstered by its agriculture and is one of the safest states in the country. Number 1. Minnesota. According to Wallet Hub, Minnesota is the 2nd best state in the entire country to raise a family, mainly due to its strong education, affordability, and stable socioeconomics. But it's not just good for families. The quality of life here is great, whether you have a young family, are single, or are even retired. The state has lots of outdoor recreation opportunities, especially in the winter, given its numerous lakes and cross-country ski trails. Plus, its cost of living index is well below national numbers, making living here affordable. What about the worst countries to live in?